Thanks for joining us for Gentle Yoga today. I'm Leo Gray, coming to you on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center in Palm Springs. Please visit us online at urbanyoga.org or on Facebook at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center to check out our schedule of daily Zoom classes, see where you can join us in person here in town Thursday through Sunday mornings, and check out the tip jar mechanisms that have been set up there so you can make contributions electronically to support our Zoom classes, which become our YouTube classes. The recording will only capture my video. If you're not muted, it will capture anything you say. Your voice will end up on YouTube with my video. So you're welcome to just stay muted. You're welcome to unmute and ask a question if something's unclear. If you can't hear me at any point, please let me know. But that's been going pretty well lately. If you've got blocks, you can have them handy. If not, no worries. A strap of some sort, so it might not be a yoga strap. We've got someone here using a scarf. Sometimes people use resistance bands. You can use a bath towel. You could use the sash off your bathrobe. I've seen people take a couple of just belts and string them together. We'll do a stretch, incorporate some stretches incorporating that. After we come out of our opening posture, so I'll talk you into this opening posture. I'm going to turn my back to you as I do this so that my right is your right as I'm talking, and so you can see, I think, a different vantage, well, a better vantage. I'm going to come down onto your back, and we're going to come into a posture that's called constructive rest, sometimes called active rest by some folks, because everything in yoga must have at least two names, right? So come down onto your back, bring your knees towards your chest. Now, often here we hug our knees. Don't hug your knees. Let your hands rest on the ground. And just let each knee drift around independently. So just let the weight of your leg float in the socket in gentle, sort of random exploratory movements. Just letting the weight of the leg open the socket a bit. Femur drifting in the hip socket. So just feel into that for a few breaths. Let things open up a bit more. There's no wrong way to explore movement, wherever your legs want to go. And we'll come into the posture in stages like this. So the next thing we're going to do is let our feet plop down on the ground 1 foot at a time. So just let the weight of your leg drop. So with the foot lands, let the other one go. And then we want to have knees leaning in towards each other, and we want to reduce the sensation of effort in the legs. So this involves turning your toes in and your heels out. So make little adjustments with your feet. Heels going out, toes coming in. So that your knees lean towards each other. Feel grounding in your sacrum and see how easeful you can get that shape to feel. So it doesn't feel like a lot of work in your legs. Maybe it still feels like some. But see what you can do with little adjustments in the placement of your feet to lessen any sensation of effort. And once you're there, place the hands. So bring your hands to your bottom rib so that your bottom rib goes across your palm. Your fingers are on your belly and your thumbs are on your rib cage. Your wrists are long and open, your elbows resting on the ground. So that's active rest or constructive rest. It's nicely grounding in the back of the body and allows some good passive opening in the shoulders and the hips. Now bring your attention to your breath, letting it get even slower and deeper. As we slowed down and laid on the floor, the breath was already changing. As you focus on it, it'll change more. Not even directing your breath, just observing it helps it to shift. Tuning into the movements of your breathing and how those movements feel. So in addition to the grounding and the opening of the biggest joints, what this posture does is allow your spine to lengthen by letting the fluid in the spinal column redistribute. So the spongy discs between your vertebrae can hydrate more evenly and expand. And we won't be in the posture for 17 minutes, but they've studied practitioners doing this and determined that if you stay in this posture for 17 minutes, your spine will reach its maximum length. I use this sometimes when I'm doing a meditation practice. I'll set a timer for 20 minutes, giving myself a couple minutes to get into the position and just lie there breathing. And when the timer goes off, I know I've had that 17 minutes. What we can do here today, instead of doing that, is take a couple of minutes to explore a breathing exercise that goes well with this posture. It involves a visual, a little imagination trip. Imagine that it's your 100th birthday and they're bringing you your cake. So you've got 100 little tiny candles to blow out. So you're going to take a big, deep inhale and exhale as slowly and gradually as you can through pursed lips. And we'll keep doing this. So you just rewind that tape of your cake coming with your 100 candles. Take another big breath and another really long, drawn out exhale through pursed lips. Keep doing that. I'll speak a bit more to the posture. You keep breathing like that. If that doesn't work for you, you can just let the breath go and breathe on your own pace. Generally, what happens with this birthday cake breathing thing is that it helps untie knots in your back somehow. I don't know who figured this out or how they came up with it, but it never fails for me that after a couple of those exhales, I'll start to feel knots in my back loosening and opening up, and some parts of the back touching down on the floor. And it's a funny sensation. You'll feel part of your back touch the floor, and you didn't realize until it touched down that it wasn't touching the floor. So let's take maybe a couple more rounds with those 100 candles. And let your breathing just find its own rhythm now. Scan your body, notice what's going on. We've been focusing on grounding and the sensations of the breath. What's going on as your breathing shifts to just a natural rhythm without exerting control? What's going on in your body that's not necessarily tied to your breathing and the movements of your breathing? Notice whatever there is to notice. And make particular note of anything you would label negative, a sensation of tightness or any aches or pains that you detect. Note these things so that you can keep them in mind as we practice. And remember that you're welcome to skip or modify anything at all. As long as you keep breathing, you'll be fine. You're always welcome to do less than what I'm saying and doing, or to do more, to do something different, especially to accommodate what you've got going on in your body today. And whenever your attention drifts away from noticing what's going on in your body, away from observing your own breath, just gently redirect, turn inward again, Come back to observing your experience and taking care of yourself, finding the practice that's best for you. And maybe in addition to these shared intentions of self observation, self care, there's something more specific to yourself, an intention you might have had in mind for your own practice. If so, let that solidify in your head and sink in over the next few breaths. Any intention you like. And before we move out of this posture, let's just take three simple, deep cleansing breaths. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth with a big sighing sound. Any sound you want. And we'll just start to move slowly. Let your knees sort of wiggle back and forth, keeping your feet planted at first, and then maybe starting to rock onto the edges of your feet as the movement of your knees gets bigger. You can take your hands off your ribs, move your arms in any way that you like. See what they want to do. Just gently and gradually coming out of stillness. Maybe turn your head side to side a bit. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Now go ahead and hug your knees. Rock and roll on your back a bit. Massage it against the floor. And grab your strap or whatever you're using in lieu of a strap. Often we do this bit with the strap near the end of practice, sometimes at the beginning. You're going to take one end of it in each hand and run it under your feet. Notice you're grounding with the floor. You want to stay grounded in the back of your body, the back of your head, shoulder blades, and sacrum. Remain on the floor and reach your feet up. So your arms in your strap and your legs are long. And don't worry about straight. Don't worry about angles, just length and grounding. Point your toes up at the ceiling, take a couple breaths. Point your toes down towards your face and take a couple breaths. Let your feet relax. Slide your feet away from each other, keeping them inside your strap. Go as far as it's comfortable for you to go. Take a couple breaths there. And then draw on the strap to help slide your feet back towards each other. And take your left foot out of the strap, press the back of your left leg to the floor. Press your heel to the floor, press your calf to the floor. Think of reaching out through your heel like you're going to step on the wall over there. Hold both parts of your strap in the left hand and reach your right arm out to the side. And gently use the strap in your arm to bring your leg over to the left, turn your head to the right. So now your sacrum will lift off the floor. You want to keep your shoulders on the floor, keep your head on the floor, and just see how far that leg wants to go over the next few breaths. You might get some cracks in your back. I don't know if that reached the microphone. My lower back just cracked. Often happens here, at least for this yogi. Slowly bring your head and your arm and your leg back to center. Grab your strap in the right hand. Take your left hand, press down on the front of your left hip bone, aiming to keep this left butt cheek on the ground to keep your pelvis from rolling. Let your limbs fall open to the right. So as the right hip opens outward, if the left hip lifts, then the right hip won't open as much. So keeping the pelvis squared to the ground will help this hip open more. Now, some folks don't like how this feels with the leg hanging in the air. You might put the yoga block or a pillow between your leg and the floor if that's you, if you don't like that sensation. Some of us don't mind it. Without the propping, the leg can lower a little more. And even with the propping, you might feel some release in the hip and slide the prop further out, further down the leg. It's a little tricky to manage the prop and the strap. Now, when we come out of this move, we want to go nice and slowly. So take your time to come back to center. And we'll do the same things on the other side. So lift your left leg up, step into the strap. Take your right foot out, press the right leg down. Reach your left arm to the side. Shoulders stay grounded. Bring your leg over to the right and turn your head to the left. Slowly bring it all back to center. Take the strap in your left hand. Press your right hand down on the front of your right hip bone. Let your limbs fall to the left. Remember to take your time, slowly bring those limbs back to center line. Raise your right leg. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Set your strap aside out of the way. And we're going to start to sit up. So you might simply tip to one side, put your hand on the floor and press up to a seat, or you might rock front to back and roll your spine along the floor a few times if you enjoy that, as I do. We'll all meet sitting up. You don't have to sit just like this. Sit so that you're comfortable. Maybe that looks like this. Maybe it doesn't. Feel your contact with the ground, whatever it is. Think about the length of your spine. We lengthened it in that opening posture. Think about the crown of your head reaching up so that you're sitting tall without being stiff or rigid. Bring your hands out to your sides. Rest your fingertips on the ground so you don't lose that length. Inhale, reach your right arm up alongside your ear. As you exhale, let your arm drape over your head. Let your fingertips come to rest by your left ear. Let the weight of your arm draw your head to the right. And if you want, you can lift your left hand a little and reach out through your fingertips. Help lengthen the trapezius muscle there in the side of your neck. If you did raise your left hand, let it come down. Let your neck stay relaxed. Let your right hand slide across your head and slide down to your cheek. Use your right arm to nudge your head back to center and let your right hand down. Inhale, reach your left arm up alongside your ear. Exhale, let your arm drape across. Gently draw your head to the left. If you want, raise your right hand, reach out through your fingertips. Not a lot of height. Maybe you can feel the point where lengthening stops. If you raise your hand higher, the trapezius starts to shorten. Maybe you can tune into where that point is. If your right hand's raised, let it down. Remember, let your neck stay passive. Let your hands slide across and down and nudge your head back up, giving your neck a break. Let your left hand down. Bring your hands to your knees. Inhale, draw your heart forward, let your head tip back. Exhale, draw your heart back, let your head tip forward and down. Take a few more breaths at your pace. Inhale to bring your heart forward. Exhale to move your heart back. Let's bring a circular aspect into the movement. So as you come forward, go over to one side. As you go back, go to the other. So still leading with the heart. Try not to let the head flop around too much. Let the neck stay soft, but let the head be supported. You can breathe the same way, or you can let the focus on breath go. Inhaling as you go to one side, exhaling as you come back on the other side. Try to keep both cheeks on the ground. Try to keep anchored in both sitting bones. If you want, change direction at some point. That's a lot to think about. Stay anchored. That's why I said let the breath focus be optional. Maybe it's too many things to think about. We break these things down as different ways of looking at it, different aspects to focus on. There's only one body, one yogi in each frame. We've all got a heart, we've all got a seat, we've all got a neck, but it's all connected. Each circle is just a circle. When you finish the next circle, let's sit up again. Let your chin come down towards your chest. We'll make some other circles just for the neck. Roll your ear towards your shoulder and let your head tip back. And other ear towards your other shoulder. You all know what a circle is. Take your time. Go as slowly as you can stand. If you find a tight spot anywhere, you might pause at the tight spot and rock back and forth and help it be a little less tight. When you finish the next circle, look forward again. Let's come up onto our hands and knees. You can tip to one side, plant your hands, swing the legs back, bring your hips over your knees. Open your hands way up. You can bring your shoulders above your wrists, or if that's too much on your wrists, it's okay to have your hands further forward so your shoulders are behind your wrists. It's called table or box pose, so we often talk about these right angles. There aren't really any right angles in your body, and it might be too much on your wrist to have your wrists right under your shoulders. Don't force it. Reach back with your left foot, press into the ball of your foot, push your heel away from your tailbone. Take a couple breaths. With an inhale, reach your right arm forward with your thumb pointing up like you want to tap the wall with those fingertips. If you want to go further, you could pick that left foot up and reach straight back like you want to touch the other wall with your heel. And if you want here to go further, bend your knee, reach back, see if you can connect and take hold of your foot or your ankle or your pant leg. Kick against your hand if you connect with the grip. Lift your knee, lift your chin. Releasing any binds, let your knee and your hands come back down. Inhale, bring your heart forward, let your head and tailbone go up. Exhale, bring your heart up, let your head and tailbone come down. Take a couple more rounds of that cow and cat breath. After your next exhale, come back to table. Reach back and press into the ball of your right foot. Take a couple breaths to let the leg lengthen out. On an inhale, reach your left hand forward. If you like, on the next inhale, pick your right foot up, reach straight back. And if you like, bend that leg, reach back, see about that bind. Open the midline and the shoulder and stretch the quads. Releasing any binds, let your knee and your hand down. Take 3 or 4 rounds of that cow and cat breathing. Moving your heart forward and then up. Come back to table, spine neutral. Step your left foot up between your hands. It might take more than one step. If you have yoga blocks, you might put the blocks under your hands. This brings the floor closer to your hands and gives you more room to move your leg. It's okay if it takes more than one step. It's okay if your arm helps your leg come forward. Have your knee above your ankle. Bring your hands to your knee. Lift yourself up like this so you're on one foot and one knee. If you feel wobbly, reposition that knee or that foot. See if you can feel less wobbly. Things that can help you be steadier here. Check out the alignment of the leg in the back. Is it behind the knee? Is the back hip above the back knee? And is the front knee above the front ankle? Exhale, sink forward in your hips. Inhale, glide back. Make this movement as big or small as you want. If you want, you can add in an arm movement. Maybe raise your right arm or maybe both. And as you exhale and sink forward in your hips, lower your arms. As you inhale, glide back, raise your arms. Maybe a rotation too. As you come down, turn your palms towards the floor. As you come up, turn your palms in. And you can always bring this left hand to your leg if you get too wobbly, if you want to stabilize the movement, and then just move the other arm up and down. And from the top of the movement, we'll twist. Reach your right hand back. Maybe reach your left hand forward, or maybe your left hand stays to your knee or comes to your knee. And always use that hand to catch yourself if you start to tip, start to wobble more than you like. Come back to your center. Maybe bring your hands to your heart and twist to your left. Left hand comes back. Right hand reaches forward or comes to your knee as needed. Come back through center. Bring your hands down to the floor or the blocks. And we'll switch legs. Step that left knee back under. Step your right foot forward. Bring your hands to your right knee. Lift your torso. Find steadiness here. Good foundation. And when you're steady, start to rock. Exhale, go forward. Inhale, come back. Try not to round your spine or bow. Think of your shoulders riding back and forth above your hips. Torso staying fairly upright. Add in these arm movements as you like, and if you like, maybe you just keep your hands on your knee and focus on rocking your hips. No matter what you're doing with your arms, you're using your core here as well as rocking out your hips. At the top of the movement, twist to the left. Come back through center and twist to the right. And come back through center. And bring your hands down. And step your right knee back under. Now let's take a child's pose. Bring your big toes together. If you like, send your knees further apart. If you have knee trouble, you might keep them closer together. See how they feel. Sit back towards your heels. Walk your hands forward. Let your head come down and come to rest. So if your head doesn't quite reach the floor, that's all right. You might stack your hands and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. If you've got blocks or a pillow, you might put one of those under your forehead. You want your head to rest on something so your neck will disengage. Your hands might keep reaching forward, staying active in the upper body, or you might let your arms relax. You might disengage further in your shoulders by reaching your hands back by your feet instead. Notice your breathing, notice how it feels and where you feel it. Many people, when they pause in child's pose, like to gently turn their head side to side, massaging their forehead against the ground or their prop. I don't like to do it, but I mention it because a lot of people do. Notice whatever there is to notice, whatever is going on in your body, whatever is going on around you. I'm noticing one of those old airplanes is flying above my house. Whatever comes up just becomes part of the practice, something else to observe and integrate. If you're reaching your hands back by your feet, reach them forward again. And inhaling, let's slowly drift forward and up from child's pose. Come back to table. Let's do some hand and foot stretching. I said that in the wrong order. First, we'll focus on the feet, then we'll do the hands. Curl your toes under. Walk your hands in towards your knees. Come up like this, standing on your knees with your feet engaged. And then sit back towards your heels. Now, I'm deliberately saying towards. I'm going to sit on my heels because I can, and that feels good to me. This will create a lot of sensation in your feet, and you get to pick how much sensation you get. So listen to your feet. Maybe you don't sit this low. Maybe you sit up here. Maybe you put a prop between the floor and your butt, or between your butt and your heels, like a spacer. So the first time I did this, I didn't sit on my heels. I've been doing this for years. And this is what my feet like. But you can always change the height of your seat to regulate the sensation in your feet. So while we stretch the feet, we'll stretch the hands like this. Reach your right hand out in front of you with the palm up. We'll do one breath for each finger. So take hold of your pinky. Inhale, gently draw your pinky out. Exhale, gently draw down, opening your palm and your wrist. So just one breath per finger. Go to the ring finger. Inhale and exhale. And now you can estimate about how long you're going to be stretching your feet. One breath per finger, feeling it out. Find your own edge with the stretch. If your hand doesn't open as much as mine does, that doesn't matter. Listen to your body. And if you get ahead of me, maybe your breaths are shorter after the thumb. You guessed it, switch hands. Starting with the left pinky, one breath for each finger. And after the second thumb, the counter pose, this is the best part. Tip forward on your hands, uncurl your toes, and bang the tops of your feet in the ground. Fast, soft, whatever feels good for your feet. And then sit back or tip to one hip. We're going to come to a seat, bring your legs out in front of you, and flex your feet back towards you. Ooh, there's a lot of sensation in the feet. That counter pose is my favorite thing. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold down over your legs, and if your knees want to bend, just let them bend. Explore with your breath to see if you might deepen the fold. As you inhale, think of the crown of your head reaching forward. As you exhale, think of lowering down. Let your breath do the work. Resist grabbing your feet or your legs and yanking yourself forward with your arms. And deliberately letting my hands be passive and just rest here. You might rest your hands on your legs or your feet or just on the floor. I could grab my feet and yank myself deeper into the fold, but the result that I get from letting the breath do the work, it's a nicer release, it's gentler. I'm inviting my body to go further, not forcing it to, not pushing it to. As we explore movement and breath, questions generally work better than direction, than orders. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit yourself up. Let your arms nudge your legs apart to whatever degree is okay for you, the edge of your comfort zone. And let your arms keep helping your legs. Bend your left leg and bring your left foot over here by your right thigh or your right knee. Then pivot your torso, aim your sternum at your right foot, and flex your right toes back towards you. Engage up your leg. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold down over the right leg. The knee can bend if it wants. See about deepening the fold with your breath. Inhale, think of coming forward. Exhale, think of lowering. Slowly swing your right arm out to the side, turn your head, look for your hand, turn your thumb down, rotate your arm, bend your elbow, reach the back of your hand towards your left hip, and peel your right shoulder back. Extend your arm again, undo that rotation, and sweep it back over here. Bring your right hand over by your left hand again. Sweep your left arm to the side, turn your head to follow, big arc. Turn your thumb down, bend your elbow, reach the back of your hand towards your right hip, and peel your left shoulder back. Extend your arm, turn your thumb up, reach your arm up alongside your ear and overhead like you want to reach your left hand to meet your right hand. For me, it's not going to come anywhere close. Some people can do that and actually bring their hands together. Not this guy. So opening deeply in the left side and helping release compression in the lower back. Compression that we get from sitting a lot. Reach your arm up and out again, and sweep it back through center. Bring the left hand to meet the right hand, and walk your hands up the front of your leg. Sit yourself up. Let your arms help your legs. Extend the left leg. Bend the right one. Bring the foot over. Pivot your torso. Flex your left foot towards you. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold down. Take a couple breaths. See if the fold goes deeper. Slowly sweep your left arm out to the side. Turn your head to track your hand. Turn your thumb down. Bend your elbow, reach the back of your hand towards your right hip, peeling your left shoulder back. Extend your arm. Let the rotation go. Sweep your arm forward. And sweep your right arm to the side. Turn your head to follow. Turn your thumb down. Bend your elbow, reach the back of your hand towards your left hip, peel your right shoulder back. Extend your arm. Let go of the rotation. Reach your arm up alongside your ear. Right hand reaching towards the left hand. Then slowly reach up, reach out, sweep your arm back, and bring the right hand over to meet the left hand once more. Walk your hands up the front of your leg and sit up. Using your arms, extend the right leg. Nudge the legs towards each other. Bring the soles of your feet to touch. Bring your heels in as close as you can to your pelvis. Interlace your fingers and wrap your hands over the tops of your toes. Wriggle on your seat, bring the bones in your seat closer to the ground and tilt your pelvis forward. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward with your spine long at first. See how far the long spine will go. Maybe your elbows press your legs down and press your hips open. When the long spine stops lowering, let your head lower, let your neck disengage. Think of breathing into your hips. Inhale, slowly sit yourself up. Let your arms help your legs. Bring your hands here under your knees and nudge your knees towards each other. Rest your feet on the floor. Plant your hands behind you. Scoot your butt towards your heels. I need to travel down my mat a bit more. I'm going to run out of that. Going down onto your forearms, then down onto your back. Wind up on your back. Soles of the feet planted, heels as close to your butt as they'll go. Press into the soles of your feet and inhale to press your hips towards the ceiling for bridge pose. If you want to go further here, deeper heart opener, you can wriggle your shoulder blades towards each other under you. You can clasp your hands and reach your knuckles towards your heels, continuing to draw your shoulder blades in. Make sure your neck's relaxed, your head is resting heavy on the floor, and make sure you're breathing, whether you're doing this bind or not. If you're clasping your hands, unclasp them. Exhale slowly, let your hips come down. And explore this movement of bridge for a few breaths on your own. Inhale to go up and exhale to come down. Go as slowly as you want, go as high as you want. You can take extra breaths at the top to challenge yourself more, or extra breaths at the bottom to rest more. And let's just let the next exhale be the last one. Bring your knees towards your chest, hug your knees, rock and roll, massage your back against the ground. Hold your left knee, extend and lower your right leg. Reach your left arm to the side. Keeping your shoulders grounded, draw your knee over to the right and turn your head to the left. Somewhat similar to what we did at the beginning with the leg, one foot in the strap, one leg going over, but the leg was long. Similar twist for the lower back and hips. Come slowly back to center. Now draw your right knee in, hold your right knee, extend and lower your left leg and your right arm. Draw your knee to the left and turn your head to the right. Slowly bring it all back to center. Draw your left knee in again. Reach your feet towards the ceiling. Reach your hands up, take hold of your legs or your feet, however you like, and play with bending and straightening your limbs, exploring movement in happy baby pose. If there's another inversion you'd prefer, invert however you like. Just taking a minute or longer if you like to let your feet and your legs get some nice healthful drainage. As you explore movement, maybe easing out some residual tight spots. Whenever you feel complete with inverting, you can make your way to your final resting pose. Maybe that's corpse pose, the traditional Shavasana, with your legs extended, your feet splayed open, your hands resting out past your hips. It's more important to be comfortable than it is to be in corpse pose. So if this isn't comfortable, make yourself comfortable. You could come back to the posture we began practice in if you wanted. Sometimes corpse pose doesn't feel good in the lower back. You can support your lower back in constructive rest, or more simply with bringing your feet in as if you were setting up for bridge. You might also bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees splay out. If you do this, you might support the weight of your legs with blocks here between the outsides of the knees and the floor. So whatever comfortable means to you, maybe you scoot over by the wall and put your legs up on the wall. When you find your comfortable stillness, let your breath slow down and get deeper. Maybe focusing on your breathing or reflecting on an intention you set for yourself, or opting to just unfocus, letting your nervous system integrate the benefits of the work you've done. Give yourself some deeper breaths. Begin to bit by bit move your body around. Take your time. Whatever movements you like, allow them to grow bigger and bigger. Moving mindfully, not rushing. When you're ready for some bigger movements, gently sit yourself up again. Or stay where you are if you like. If you want, bring your hands up by your heart. Thank you for sharing in practice today. The light within me sees, honors, and bows to that same light in each of you. Namaste. Again, Leo Bray here on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center in Palm Springs. Please visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. Stop by the tip jar, check out the schedule. We have classes every day. Questions and feedback are always welcome when you show up in person outdoors with us, when you come to Zoom, or when you visit us on YouTube. Feedback is a great tool to help me get better at this, and there's always room to improve. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
Great class, Leo. Thanks again.